Going live. All right, we're live.
What's up, Food Podcast? Check this out. I found this song.
We can't hear that.
Barely.
It's the wrong song, anyways. So, what's up, everybody? We have Dulce Sloan on the podcast. Man, what's up, man? Thank you for doing our podcast, man. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Dulce's,
Dulce, are you Latina?
No. No matter what those articles keep saying, I keep getting written up as Afro-Latina, and I have to like message people and go, hey, don't want to cause any problems, but you might want to take this article down. I'm just a black lady.
Ha! That's what's up. You know what's funny though, man? No, whenever they're looking for a Latino, they just randomly pick up names like Jacobo Suarez or Jacob. They like finding white Latino names mixed with a white name. Like they go like, you know what, Jose Chaplin sounds Latino enough. He sounds
right. Like it's probably like their mom and their dad's probably like, okay, that makes sense, but it's like I'm just from Miami. I grew up with Mexicans, but I'm not so because like Jesus Trejo like to put me on Latino shows at the Comedy Store, and I'm like, why are you putting me on the show?
For reals?
And he's like, you get it. And I was like, okay.
They always like to categorize us like stand-up comedy, especially in the beginning, like we know, like it's always been like a white, right? And then like black comedians started coming along and killing it, and they just couldn't put them on Friday night. They just couldn't put them on Saturday night with everybody else.
Oh, you got to
put them on Tuesday night or Sunday night, and then like sometimes when like I was doing Latino night on Monday nights only, and I'm thinking, damn, am I ever gonna do Friday nights? What the fuck? But then like, I just stuck around, man. But then like I was like the only Latino. Then like, hey, man, then I was like, are there gonna be more Latinos? Am I gonna be the only one? Me and Sully McCullough, Chili, the only other black guy.
It was a lot of times it was me, or sometimes like I'd be on open mics in Atlanta, and I would not only be the only person of color on the show, but sometimes I was the only woman on the show. So it's like 12 people on this open mic. It's just 12 white dudes and me on this open mic. And if the crowd starts getting rowdy, they send me out to yell at the crowd. And then they
handle the show.
Yell at the crowd. And then they
representing.
Yeah, I just wanted to do my comedy. I didn't want to yell at drunk people on a Wednesday, but
hey, it's funny how you say you didn't want to perform a drunk room on a Wednesday. That's the room we had for 10 years.
Yeah.
God. Well, it's like there aren't even enough like in Atlanta there wasn't enough like Latino comics to even have like a Latino night at the big club. So it'd have to be some like I saw when like George Lopez came to the Fox, or like it'd have to be like a big Latino comic to come in, like Gabriel Iglesias, but for the most part there weren't even, which is always crazy to me because there's a lot of Latinos in Atlanta, especially like a lot of Mexicans there. And I was like, how come there's never any Latino comics? And they'd be around, and then if they didn't start doing the black rooms, they'd be like, I ain't dealing with these white folks, I'm out. I'm like, oh, okay, it was nice to gracias.
Only Latinos they see are on tour. Yeah.
Right. Like if
the white people don't book us.
I get it, because it's like, and like a lot of the white, because in Atlanta the scene is very divided. So it's very much like, here are the two black clubs, here are the two white clubs, and then you'd work the rooms in between. So a lot of comics would go back and forth. But as a black female comic starting out in black room, it was really hard to get stage time.
Bottom of the totem pole.
Right. Because they would be like, listen, we already got 2 females on the show.
That's enough. That's
crazy. We don't know who you are. Exactly.
And if I don't have every comic in the room vouching for me, then it's like, well, all right then. You can bruh, I've been here since 7 o'clock. The show didn't start till 8:30, and now it's 10 o'clock. So I know I'm not up. I'm like, all right, let me see what these white folks are doing. I'm gonna go over there. So it just depends. Sometimes they give you a chance, sometimes they didn't. So I just went where I could go up.
Yeah, you gotta migrate.
So you're over there working with Henry Wells.
Who?
Henry Welsh?
I think he's before her time, probably.
In Atlanta.
He's an older guy.
He doesn't creep around the clubs at Atlanta every now and again?
He was probably at the Punchline.
I know Bo P does.
Yeah.
Bo P's
He's
Bo P!
Bo P's still around.
Yeah.
Hey, let me tell you something. I opened up for Bo P here in California. We did a show together in Salinas, California. And they flew us out. I mean, he was headlining. And after the show, he told me, he told me, Felipe, you gotta hang out at the back of the show and tell everybody thanks for coming out. Then they'll remember you, and then next time you come out, they'll probably bring people to your show. And I always remember that, right? So I always hang out at the end of the show. And then when I saw him in Atlanta, Georgia, I walked up to him and I said, "You remember me?" He's still the one. You gave me some good advice one time. And it's funny because I was trying to get into Atlanta Punchline, and him, another comedian named Wayete, and another comedian helped me get in with the owner there. And I couldn't get a regular week. So my wife down there, Lisa, we booked our own show on a Sunday, 3 shows.
On a Sunday?
On a Sunday.
In
And we packed out 2 shows and we canceled a third. But we fucking set a precedent there. And after that, man, it was like undeniable. They had to book me. Or else I'm just gonna book my son. They gonna have no money.
And now they book you every year.
I have been trying to get in with the Punchline for years, and I started in Atlanta.
Damn.
So maybe
That's
one
crazy.
day, maybe
It
Atlanta's
is.
most.
the headline.
It is. It is tough. It's tough, man. It's tough when you're like the comic from the town, and I mean this. You don't have to be of color. You could be any color, because when I talked to Davis, I talked to this comedian that knows Davis Spade, and they said, "We're from Arizona, and the owner here never headlined us.
Probably
I
Mark
had to
Maron.
go on
Mark Maron might have
SNL to get headline." And then what if the other comedian said that he never got a room?
Yeah. It's always so confusing that you can never get like shine where you're from, which is like, you can't, the wildest part is like the club will be like, "Oh, look at all these comics that came out of this club that were successful." But at the same time, you won't book us to come back to the club.
Yeah, it's like you get more love from like the out of town comedy clubs, you know? You're like, damn, you guys are showing me more love than my hometown, you know?
Maybe there's an attitude or a feeling like they still see you as that person.
A beginner.
That Mike or that beginner or whatever. I don't know if they know you even. I don't even know.
Like, I've been to Corpus Christi so many times. People think I should run for mayor there.
But it's
that's like, I've stood at bad hotels, man. Like, I don't
the
like when a club. I didn't like when I was booking myself at these clubs, and they made me get a hotel knowing they had a comedy condo that I could stay at.
Oh my gosh,
that sounds right.
On an off night.
They never mentioned it.
Hey, man, but you know what, man? After the coronavirus ends, I don't think no comedian or no female comedian is gonna a comedy condo ever.
No.
I mean, we already
the
knew
COVID condo.
We already knew they was nasty. Everybody. First thing I heard when I started doing stand up and starting to go on the road, they were just like, "If you cannot stay at the condo, try not to stay at the condo, and if you're gonna stay, don't put your head on the pillows." And I was like,
sleep opposite.
And I was like, I forgot these white boys was nasty. I forgot.
Put a plastic bag on the pillow, over the pillow.
Al Madrigal says he takes his sleeping bag with him everywhere he goes, and he will roll it out on top of the bed and lay in his sleeping bag on the bed.
That's what Gina Yashere does. If you look
It's a
at
good
her
idea.
Oh yeah.
reviews she would do on Instagram, she would she puts a plastic bag over the remote control. She is not playing with anybody when it comes to these hotel rooms. And I guess I'm in here playing with fire. I'm touching all over that remote.
Marcella
Dude.
doesn't sit in any of the chairs or couches.
At a hotel, I'm just like I'm at my house.
They gross her out. She's like, ooh.
I dig my toes into the couch.
Yeah.
She's like, I know people had sex on this couch.
I sleep
Hey,
face down on the couch, dude. My
me
face.
too. It's like my little apartment right there.
I spread
Living like a
my
king.
dandruff.
I mean, I'm in here now. What they gonna do? If I don't see no visible stains on this couch, we living. I don't know.
Hell
What
yeah.
I mean,
Let's
I
put a
did,
stain on.
right, but at least Eliza Skinner, she put me on a campaign where, like, if you get a room, you get 2 beds. So one bed is the eating bed, and one bed is the sleep.
That's a good idea, man.
I like it.
Good idea, man.
I never
I've
heard
done
of
that before, man. I've had 2 beds, but then, like, the other bed ends up being my dresser and my dirty
the
clothes
clothes.
bed. And I still
My
lose
luggage.
something.
I
Man,
know.
there used to be a comedian. Well, he's still around. Dante. We had him on a podcast. By the way, he fired Ron Jeremy from his management already.
Whoa.
It was getting him so much work too.
He said that he would go. He knew like he would go into every. He had a list of things to do at a hotel room for comedians, and one of them was to always take the top sheet off because they never wash it. They just
The blanket,
replace it.
the
That's what he
comforter
said.
thing, yeah.
He said to wipe the sinks because sometimes they get lazy and they just wipe it with a little oil to make it look like it's clean.
They use baby
And-
oil on the metal, yeah.
Baby oil.
Faucets to make it look,
And
make it look like
Rodrigo, our co-host of the year, since he's the exterminator of the decade, he said if you look between the sheets, you can see there was any bed bugs.
Yeah, in the tufts and folds of the
Get
mattress.
out!
yeah, and the seam, right? Like right.
Yeah.
Hey, you said you could smell cockroaches, right?
Yeah,
You
I
can smell it, right?
Yeah, I can
That's
smell.
disgusting, dude.
He's
I get-
Tarzan, bro.
I walked into people's houses. I'm all, there's roaches in here. Like where you guys used to live at in Echo Park, that place had roaches.
Oh yeah. Oh, Echo Park? No.
No, not you guys. No, Martin and Johnny.
I was like, we didn't have.
Hey,
not you guys.
Those are our pets, bro.
Yeah,
Y'all-
right.
I'm
Bro,
blessed.
their house was dirty. The guy, Martin Rizzo.
It
his house
was a
dirty.
roommate.
They used his house to film Snowfall, the crack house.
I was gonna build a.
I can always tell when somebody's car is messed up. I've walked past plenty of cars and been like, "You're leaking coolant, ma'am. You might want to
That's the smell too, man. It's a peculiar little smell.
I know coolant. I know oil, transmission fluid. I can walk by. Yeah, you're leaking. You might want to. You got brake fluid leaking right there. You might want to check that out.
Yeah, you got expired tags. I can smell.
Smelly ass car.
Yeah, if I can go past your engine and get a whiff, I'm like, what your car is giving me is you got about 10,000 more miles before you need a new engine.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I've had a lot of used cars, and I used to date a mechanic. So
Hell yeah.
I used to date a mechanic because I had a lot of used cars. You see how that works?
Insider
Oh.
tips.
Yeah, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Eat the system.
Since you date a mechanic, when you guys made love, that he sit behind that little wheel, he goes back and forth.
On the dolly.
That little dolly to go under the car.
I can say he didn't do much.
He did the world's oil change.
You know, a mechanic will be tired at night. You know that can't perform. He already performed all day.
I will neither confirm nor confirm. Listen, it's none of my business. He's married to a woman who's built like a can of soup now. It's not. It's not.
Oh, Campbell's or
Dinty Moore.
Depending on-
Nice
Damn!
top ramen.
Chunky, Dinty
Extra
Moore.
Or
chunky.
top
Yeah.
ramen.
none of my business. I'm just fat shaming. I'm not fat shaming. I just know if a bitch is cylindrical. That's all I know.
Cylindro.
She's a 2. I'm not. I can't be a hater. They're so happy. I blocked them on all social media, so I can't check.
have a better evening.
Good for you.
Looking at that
It's about
shit.
mental health. You know, it's all about self-care. And
You ever
myself
get those?
blocking you and your goofy ass wife on everything.
You ever get emails or texts from people like that? Like, hey, stranger.
I have had one of those. Actually, I think this man that I'm currently speaking of told me happy birthday on my Facebook fan page because he's blocked on everything else.
Wow.
And I was like,
Found a way around.
I know.
Hey.
Huh?
you're still blocked on my regular Facebook, so all you see is promo shit. You want to listen to my podcast? No. I do what I do. I'm out here. I just being in quarantine, being lonely. Other than that, chilling.
Before we get to your podcast, because that's gonna open up a lot of stuff. Because I watched one of those shows that you talked about last time. One of those movies, Fear of the Brown Hat.
The Black Hat.
And I don't want to get into it right now because I always thought Fear of the Brown Hat and CB4 was the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fear of Black Hat and CB4, yeah.
Yeah, they were the
So
same.
let's get down to your podcast.
Yeah, it's called That Black Ass Show. It's on Starburns.
The Black Ass Show.
That
Yeah.
Black Ass Show.
Yeah.
Judith Carbo over at Starburns, she pitched the show to me, and I was like, I love it. It's great. So we're talking to Black creatives about Black TV shows and movies.
Awesome.
Talking about Black plays too.
Oh yeah.
So Ron Funches, we put that episode out today. And some of Ron Funches, I just interviewed Hari Kondabolu. Not Hari Kondabolu, Hannibal Buress. My brain went way south. I was like, he's not Black. And then Ashley Nicole Black, we talked about Scandal and Black Lady Sketch Show. So I'm basically like, I've just hit up a lot of my friends and was like, hey, you want to talk about Black movies and Black TV shows? So some things I remember from when I was a kid that I've gone back to watch. Some things I will never watch again. Yasser Lester talked about Tales from the Hood, and that movie scared me so much.
It's just
I
scary,
remember that
man.
movie. That was scary,
It's a scary
dude.
ass
I
movie,
just,
dude.
I just
I don't
watched
like
that
it.
with my
part-
son like last
the-
year. It was so
The
fun.
When the little
scariest
people- when the
part to
picture
me
came out?
was this one.
Yeah, that
When that fool was cutting up on what's his name like that with a paper, I lost it, bro.
when we was tearing up the paper because his dad was like abusive. That the little dolls running down the hallway.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck all that, dude. That shit's scary.
I was like,
Nightmares.
like, just watch it during the day. I was like, bruh, unless the sun is in my apartment, I'm not watching this movie. The angel of the Lord, my mama, the Holy Ghost, and the Lord. I couldn't handle it. But yeah, it's been really good. I talked to Baron Vaughn about Robert Townsend. So it's been really great to go back and watch stuff that I haven't seen in a long time. Like we
You
watched
reviewed, or not reviewed, but you talked about Living Single one time, right? With
yeah, we talked to with
I love that show.
Naomi, who's a writer over at the Daily Show. We talked to her about Living Single. And so it's been really good to revisit stuff. I talked to Zainab Johnson about Women of Brewster Place. So it's been interesting
I
to
forgot about that show.
I mean, it's like mini series, and I talked to Josh Johnson about Family Matters, and
I love that show.
oh, it was great. And so he was talking about how like he related to Urkel growing up.
I think was that like the first Black nerd on TV? Like
nerd. I think so.
nerd. Like
Oh,
I
it
think
was
so.
Raj from What's Happening.
Well, Raj was a nerd. That's true, but he was cool too. though.
Yeah, he's a cool nerd.
He was a cool nerd.
Like Urkel was
No.
like, nope, this is
Urkel
what I'm
was
Right.
Fucking pants all the way up here.
There was an episode where I think where JJ's mom was stuck in a bad storm, and one of the little kids next to Tootie was a little nerd.
Well, Michael's kind of a little nerd. I mean, he's smart. He's not a nerd, but he's like he's
Nah, he was
woke-
brainy.
people.
he was a woke, brainy kid.
Dulce, there's a comedian, and he's written for Jamie Foxx. You know him, Sully McCullough. And he
Crazy
wrote him and
Legs
Chris
from,
Spencer,
Crazy Legs.
Spencer, and another comic. They wrote
Marlon Wayans.
You Know Your Ghetto If,
Right.
and he's a writer. He has a collection of all the Black show memorabilia.
Mm-hmm.
Like he has Isaac as a doll like this.
Isaac from The Love Boat, yeah.
He has JJ Push. He has Robert Townsend in that movie when
Meteor Man.
Meteor Man doll.
Meteor
bro.
Man had a doll?
Movie, dude.
Yeah, he did. Also, Meteor
That's
Man
tight.
went on a streaming service. One of my friends in
See
Puerto
that the
Rico
movies.
find it for me on something called Plex TV.
Mm.
And like Meteor Man isn't on any streaming service. And Baron wanted to talk about it, and I was like, all right, we got to hunt this movie down. But the cool thing about Robert Townsend that we talked about with Baron was that he had like a troupe of actors that he called the Robert Townsend Players. So when you
Based
look
on
at,
love.
so yeah,
it's Keenan Ivory Wayans and some other cats.
yeah, Keenan Ivory Wayans and some other dudes, and
Rusty
so
Cundiff, probably.
yeah, Rusty Cundiff. And Rusty Cundiff, he wrote and directed Tales from the Hood.
Right.
And
Fear of a Black Hat, or CB4,
Hat.
right? Fear of a Black Hat.
so I looked up, so after seeing like Fear of a Black Hat and seeing Rusty Cundiff, I was like, yo, Rusty Cundiff was like killing it in the 90s.
Did
He
a
was
lot.
making all these
Killing
things.
it.
Him and Ali Leroy too. Don't forget Ali Leroy with
Ali
Chris
Leroy.
Rock.
Ali Roy.
Chris Rock show. He produced and wrote, like he produced a lot of stuff back then. He produced Everybody Hates Chris. That was his show. He was a showrunner on that.
Yeah, it's interesting to see like when you go back and start looking at those movies from back then, like what was, what people were making, who all was involved in everything. Because like the first one of the first interviews, the earlier interviews that I did was with Thea Vidal, and
Yeah.
Thea.
And it was great.
Funny bit, man.
And she was amazing because it was great talking to her, because she was talking about how, when she did her show, how hard it was for her to get Black writers on her show.
Damn.
And that was the mid 90s. And that's a conversation we're still having.
Crazy.
About trying to get Black writers on shows. And then she was talking about how the show was set in Houston. And she was like, I need Latinos on my show. If it's set in Houston, I cannot have Latinos on my show. They're filming it in LA and they're like, we can't find anybody. She's like, you're telling me that you can't find Latino actors in Los Angeles? They're like, no. She said, then just go outside and grab people.
They're right there on the corner.
And they live here. Just go outside, put them in wardrobe, and put them on the show.
I know, man. You cannot throw a rock and not hit Isa Morales.
Everybody's always working. So, because like she said, there was an episode where she has to go to the bank to get a loan. And there was this huge conversation as to what the background of the bank manager should be. They're like, well, they can't be Black. And she's like, why not? She's like, well, no.
Whoa, what the fuck?
No, a Black bank manager giving a Black person money. And then it was like, well, if they're Latino, then it looks like it's Latinos helping Black people. So it was this long conversation.
We don't need no unity.
Right.
These guys have no idea what they were doing. Oh my
Damn,
god.
dude. What's
They
all
don't
those
have
hurdles,
any
bro?
idea. They just follow other people, what they do. That's how
Right.
Hollywood
So
works.
I guess, the bank manager ended up being white because it was like they didn't want to show a Black person having the ability to help another Black person. They didn't want to show a Latino helping a Black person. So it's like, oh, well, we have to make sure the bank manager's white. And they're like, well, they could have been Asian, but they were like, we don't know how the Asians feel about Black people. It's like, who gives a shit? Just cast it. What is this conversation? So it's people who were, people have always been worried about optics and how things look, but it's just kind of sad that it's like, that's the early 90s, early to mid 90s, and it's 2020, and we're still talking about getting people of color in writers' rooms. And it's like, how much longer are we going to have this conversation?
Keeping it systematic.
Yeah, when
So
Felipe and I were
everybody's
pitching
beige.
Felipe and I were pitching a show. Well, we've done it twice now, but we were looking for writers. We're looking for Latino writers, and it is so now there are a few like hitting the scene, but there's like a short list of Latino writers, and I know. And then, but the two producers, they were both Black women, and they were hitting up people in their rosters, and that's when they were starting to talk about how there was this gap in Black writers, Black showrunners who are experienced. There's this gap in the 90s. And I was like, wait a minute, you're telling me different world. And because different world, I felt like changed everything for the Black girls I went to school with. College bound, all of them were college bound. It changed the way people thought about what's next, what my future is going to be like. And honestly, I saw a huge change there. I love that show so much. And to find out that Cosby didn't want Black writers on that show, he wanted white writers on that show. And
interesting.
And it was a tough battle for Black writers to get into the room. There was tokenism, of course, and it was like, oh, we got one, that's enough. Like, doors closed.
Diversity higher.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know if I should have said that.
What'd you say?
It's out.
I know he probably just didn't want the show to be all hip hop in his head, Like he probably get thinking about the WB.
Kids sagging their pants.
But there were so many shows, it's like when Chris Rock, he made a comment, and it made a lot of sense. He said that they integrate baseball until we started seeing African American players that were not good. At first, you had to be
phenomenal.
Badass to be in baseball, right? And remember how you would see white baseball players that kind of sucked, and you're like, what the hell are they doing in there? But then when you started seeing African Americans, he said that were not that good, that's when it was equal.
Because you didn't always have to be the best to get in,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think, Taraji P. Henson, I think she'd won like an Emmy. I don't want to misquote her, but she had won an award. I think it was an Oscar and an Emmy. And she was just like, I'm just waiting for the day where we're no longer counting how many Black people have won something.
You're the first this.
Like,
they're
the first this.
It's not the second or the third, where it's just like,
the
this
first and only.
Right. So this isn't like Jackie Harry is the only Black woman to win a Emmy for Best Actress in a Comedy.
Wow.
I think it was Best Supporting Actress in a Comedy. She's the only one to ever win. And that was for 227.
Wow.
If you look at all of the Black comedies that have been on since then, it was only Jackie Harry, and then and I was like,
and Esther.
Right. And it's like, and you wonder why people are still saying Oscar is so white and Emmy is so white, and Golden Globes and People's Choice and all of these awards that are just so one-sided. But like, when you're working on a TV show, because like I was trying to pitch something, and when you're a comic, they're like, write a show about your life, and I'm like, I'm a Black person from Donald Glover already did. But this is like,
my God, dog.
Before Atlanta came out, and then Atlanta came out, and I was like, I'm not what? He's got a dude in an invisible car. I can't be Donald. Like, I'm not gonna make this show. I'm a Black lady from Atlanta. That's where we're from. So I don't know what extra I'm gonna add to the pantheon of information. Also, I just wanted to do something different, but I was working on, a friend of mine at the time, her boyfriend, like he had sold some stuff, and, we were just working on the one sheet and everything. And I was talking about my mom's house. My mother put a chandelier in every room of her house.
Tight.
And my mother at the time drove a Jaguar. And he kept going into the document and changing it to say that our house was kind of run down. And, and she asked him, so this is a conversation between two white people. She's like, why do you keep going in and saying that the house is kind of run down and she doesn't have a nice car? He's like, well, we want it to be like realistic. And she was like, she's second generation suburbs. This is realistic. Like, what?
Y'all should be poor.
Also,
That's
have
crazy.
you never heard of Black people from Atlanta? We're not all poor. Like,
hell no.
He goes, and then like I remember like this actress I knew, she said they gave her what she wanted, right? Like every you're gonna have this, but then they still want to add something to throw off the show. Like if the river is wide and he's a vampire.
What?
Well, they'll throw a curve on your show, and I think the invisible car is a curve.
You
That
might throw
invisible
in
car-
something strange, yeah.
I mean, that invisible car was an amazing curve, but as somebody who honestly, as somebody who's been outside the club watching dudes stunt these cars,
That
I mean-
I laughed my head off.
That was funny when the person got hit. Yeah, I remember that
it's
episode.
truly
He's just
It's-
like,
the next level. Like, I remember being outside. We were outside a Club Chocolate on 285. That was the real name of this club, next to a flea market. And this is the first time we'd ever seen, like, you know, everybody had spinners, right? But this was the first time we'd seen like liquid core rims. So they're the rims that don't spin when the car is moving.
Those tripped out, dude.
It's tripped out because there was like 30 of us waiting in line, and he drives by, but his rims aren't moving, and everybody in line slightly leaned forward and then slightly leaned back. And somebody goes, liquid core. We're like, okay, got it. Because all the skating. And everybody went, that's not how cars work.
See that shit on mushrooms, see if you don't
I don't
trip
think-
the fuck out.
yeah, I don't
Yeah,
think I've
right.
ever seen that.
And so that was the only time I'd ever seen it. So I don't know if it was a spaceship that had figured out how to
It
human enough.
looks mad trippy.
Right. And this was in Atlanta. So when I saw that invisible car, I was like, yep, feasible. Mm-hmm.
Out there in Buckhead.
That's when you bring an invisible car out. Like, you know what, these hoes, they ain't ready. They ain't ready for the invisible. See me. I'm killing everybody.
I went to a club in Atlanta after some taping we did with Tony Rock and Bill Bellamy. I'm not dropping names; they were there, and it was one of those things. Where
Burning
we're all
them,
gonna
dude.
go there. We're all gonna go there after. We're doing a show for American Insurance,
Yeah,
and
it was a corporate show, right?
and Gary O was gonna go too. Then when we get there, it was at the place called the Vault, I think. It's like an old car lot. And man, there was a big ass line to get in. And I think you gotta spend $1,200 immediately when
You
you
have
get inside.
to get bottle
What?
service.
Bottle service.
One area. Yeah.
And when I got there, like standing in line, there was a police officer hitting like this guy who could be a linebacker with a metal stick over and over and over. And then he turned around and then he goes, "All right, handcuff me then." And they took him to jail. And I said, "All right, man, this ain't the type of club. If this shit's going down, man, is this just going down outside while people are standing in line?
In the
What the fuck's
beginning.
going on inside?" Man,
You
I saw a
laughed really
photo
well.
of Tony Rock with 2 bottles and walking around, and he wasn't sharing. And then when I saw him, he goes, "Man, they try to get me for all my money in there."
Oh, listen, the clubs we would go to, there was the clubs where in Atlanta, it was either the clubs where the girls have heels on or where the girls got on sneakers. And if you're at a club where all the girls got sneakers on, you're like, oh, this is going to be fun. We might have to run at the end of the night, but we're going to have a good time. Like in the wintertime when everybody leaves their jackets and their purse in the car. Because you won't see, because like the clubs where a girl wears their heels, they have like it'll end up being like a circle of girls with their shoes in the pile in the middle.
Mhm.
Nah, they never got me. I always came in flats. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna be prepared.
Hell yeah, man. That's like when you go to a house party in East LA or Boyle Heights or Alhambra and you see a lot of cholas with white tennis shoes, it's on.
You
Don't
know
stuff
it's
'em.
gonna be, listen, ain't nobody in there trying to be extra cute. We just in here trying to dance and have a good time. Now, yes, you might have to run at the end of the night. You
Oh
know,
yeah.
Some gangster
But that's
lesbians
right.
fresh off the pen.
That's the
Right.
kind of party where somebody
More-
brings. That's the kind of party where somebody's dancing with a big family pack of chips.
Yeah.
Family
He's not-
size, dog.
he's not sharing. He brought them in for him.
Hell yeah.
I'm like, so let me get this straight. You brought these chips to this party for you. Yeah. And you
I
not
gotta sober up.
Hell no.
Right.
And his homie bought a 2-liter of Pepsi, eh?
Yeah.
With the straw.
I'm trying to sober up. I got the Cheeto puffs to soak up the alcohol, dude.
Hey, Dulce, after these clubs, where the hell did you go eat after with everybody?
You know, we went to
Waffle House.
Play me. Don't try to play me. Ain't nobody going to no IHOP, dog. What I look like on IHOP?
IHOP's always lonely.
We didn't go to no All-American.
No, I went to Waffle House because the missing ingredient in Waffle House is alcohol.
And was that with a Waffle House like a club, the after club?
Definitely. And listen, if there's not a convicted felon on the grill, I'm not eating here.
I was just gonna say, I always feel like the eggs are gonna have like a cigarette butt in them, you know, like a cigarette.
Or a little note.
Oh, nasty.
Help me rob this bank. I need a getaway driver.
I have never had an issue. I have been to high-end restaurants and seen a hair, or I was in some place in San Diego and there was just a fly just died right next to my frijoles. But killing, just
R.I.P.
just freshly dead. And I said to the waiter, and I was like, wait, he's like, what? I said, una mosca. And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, oye, una mosca. Get the plate. I'm trying not to flex on your restaurant. But there's a mosca next to my frijoles. I need you to take my plate, right? So, but the Waffle House, clean, gorgeous. Listen, I saw somebody in Savannah get slammed on the floor in a Waffle House and get arrested on my birthday, and he didn't get up greasy. So,
there's your proof.
I love the Waffle House.
It's amazing. My mother tried to take me one time at 11 a.m. on a Sunday, and I was like, are we getting drunk first?
I know, it's like Jack in the Box during the day. You can't go during the day.
Right. Like Waffle House drunk or Waffle House hungover. Perfect. But it's just, I woke up I went to bed sober, woke up sober, and now you want me to go to a Waffle House? It's not going to taste the same, pimping. Taste the same.
It's true, though.
I don't need that day shift felon. I need the night shift felon because he's out on house arrest. That's who I need.
Hell yeah.
He just got out. He's been working a 12-hour shift. He means it when he makes these eggs. That's who I need.
Those parole pancakes.
Have you ever
Sometimes you
seen
go
it?
there, man. You go to the Waffle House, and the white ladies that work there, they look like they were the background actors for fucking Orange the New Black.
A little white chick straight out of Gummo, the movie.
Yeah, there's some scary women there.
Oh, listen, Waffle House is known to hire those that you might not see other places.
Mean
But-
characters.
Yeah. They'll have ankle bracelets.
I mean, I think Waffle House works solely with work release. And honestly, I'm here for them giving opportunities. I am thankful that they are giving people a chance because a lot of places won't. So thank you, Waffle House, for the work you are doing in the community.
When they see your card, they'll be like, "Hey, I made your license plate in jail."
Always remember the ones I make.
You love Waffle House, but Martin Rizzo, what do you like, bro? What pancake place?
There's this place called the Original Pancake House.
Oh, it's in Atlanta and it closes at 3 p.m. Useless ass.
Yeah, they close early. There's a couple around LA. Yeah, dude.
It is really good.
Who is awake? Who in LA is awake to get to somewhere by 3 p.m.?
Exactly, right?
Y'all like this,
Old people, man.
You know what? Anybody that shows up in a van.
Yeah. Because they ain't been to bed yet. Yeah, LA was a trip to me. Like when I found out that like the bars and everything closed at 1:30, and I was like,
yeah.
You mean like even like in Pennsylvania, you can't sell bar and liquor in the same building, but their bars still close at a good late Christian time. Like, why does everything close?
Yeah, man. My first time in there.
Those Puritan values of bullshit conservancy.
I went to New York like back in like 2004, I think. My first time or third time, but I was drinking this time, and I went to some bar, and I drank at that bar till 4:30 in the morning.
Oh, that's crazy.
Chi-Town, New York.
I thought it was badass too, man. I was calling people.
Fuck yeah.
Damn, dude. Bro, it's 4:30 in the morning, bro, and they're serving me another drink.
There's bars in Chicago, if you know the right ones, that close at 6.
Whoa.
Nice.
Because over here in California, it's 2 p.m., but I mean, they wrap it up at 1:30 just to get everybody out and then conk out at 2. It's wild.
I remember I'd be watching Jersey Shore and they'd be getting ready at midnight. I'm like, what are you guys doing? You only have an hour.
Yeah, dog. It's Snooki, dog.
Yeah.
Listen, I was here with my homegirl one time because like the first time I came here, the second time I came here was like 2016. I was here doing shows. And my friend was like, it was Sunday. And she's like, all right, we're going to a bar. And I was like, why? It's Sunday. The bar is going to close at 12. What are you talking about? And she was like, what are you talking about? And I was like, last call in Atlanta on a Sunday is 11:30. But for the rest of the week, it's 2:30. So crazy. I didn't even think. I was like, girl, it's Sunday. We got to this bar at 1 a.m. And I was like, oh, blasphemy. And they said last call was 3:30. And I was like, I cannot believe they got folks out here drinking on a Sunday night till 3:30. And she's like,
the Lord's
what
Day.
are you talking about? And I was like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, man. Going to the club at midnight, the shit, man. I remember I had shows at 1:30 in the morning and I was drinking back then, and me and Lisa would take a little disco nap. Go to sleep at 10 o'clock at night and get up at 10:45, get all ready
to go.
Come back at 4.
In LA, you got to take the disco nap at 8 p.m. if you're going to be out.
Yeah, that's a perfect time for a disco nap in LA.
Yeah, it's good.
But that's what I started doing. That's literally what I started doing before shows. Like, because we will be out, like you hit a couple places. So like, especially here, I get home from like Daily Show at like 6. I take a nap, wake up at like 7:30, and then we just be out because the clubs would close when the bar would close. But LA, you got to take your disco nap at 4 p.m. Get ready, and then the comics in LA don't hang because it's like, well, it's 1 o'clock. I guess we should go home. I was like, I don't know what to do with you people. Y'all ain't even talking, just ain't chilling. Y'all ain't just hanging. So that's the biggest difference I see, like doing stand up here and doing stand up in LA. Is like comics in New York, like hang.
Yeah, man, you gotta find the right ones because a lot of the ones that are coming in from other places aren't. But I know that March and Rizzo, you go to Denny's still, right, and hang out till 4, huh?
No, not in a couple of years, but I used to. That was the thing. Like after the bars or comedy shows, hang out outside the comedy club, talk about comedy, then go to like a 24-hour like faux place, eat there till 3 in the morning, and just hang out and smoke cigarettes and like it was. Like,
I used to hang out after a show because I would go at my show on Wednesday nights, the Wild Mexican Bar at Wild Coyotes. We would do that show from 10 o'clock till midnight. And then sometimes we would go bowling at the 24-hour bowling alley in Hollywood and just chill there and then go eat fucking Denny's and get home at 6 in the morning.
Always between 5:30 and 6 in the morning.
But man,
always.
Comics don't understand. When you hang out late, those are the fun times, man. You fucking laugh so much. I've had my head explode.
Like there's
Rudy Moreno's your daddy.
I do know you have to like be like, I know when I lived in LA, like we would come on Tuesday was on all like the black comics would come, and then we'd be in the back at Punky's bar. And Punky's goal in life is to get you as drunk as humanly possible, as quickly as possible. So I'd have to be like, she's like, you want to? I'm like, Punky, you already gave me one drink. I'm going to drink it for the rest of the night because I think it's just a glass of whiskey. And I have things to do tomorrow. So there's been times I've been at the store super late only because it was like, all right, if you're at the back bar, then you don't have like the civilians coming through randomly. I've been able to stay late like there, but like the Improv, nah. And then because it's too open, because you can see everybody, and they're like, all right, it's 1 o'clock, we're closing. And you're like, oh, well, okay, I guess we're going to House of Pies. I don't know. Like, there's no one else.
Fred 62.
Fred 62. I don't always be down with Fred. Like, Fred 62 be all right.
It's only cool because they're open.
No, that's horrible service. I refuse.
That's what I'm saying. That place sucks.
Or they're assholes there.
They are.
I don't like that place either. Eh?
They're assholes.
I've never been comfortable.
I only like their Pop-Tarts, the homemade Pop-Tarts.
Snobby.
What a weird claim to fame.
Yeah.
Gotta be known for something, right?
I would rather. There's a coffee house that's open till 2 on Franklin. the Bourgeois.
Bourgeois.
Ooh.
Pig.
Bourgeois.
Pig.
I've been there like many times with Lisa.
It's got a pool table in there, right? They play pool.
They have a pool table, and they have
But
like
it's
this
no alcohol,
little, like
it's
this little
coffee.
fake little Indian like a little genie's couches and real
Yeah, like
quiet green
pillows and
light.
stuff.
Nobody's saying
Oh,
nothing.
that's
Good
cute.
place for side
It's like
chicks. Not
it's
just
a
kidding.
it's a lounge, but no alcohol, but coffee.
TMZ
I,
can
I
start
used to
hitting
go
that
there
spot,
for
dude.
I used to go there at for my 11 o'clock in the morning Narcotic Anonymous meetings on Saturdays. That's how I used to always hang out there, and man, but nobody likes to hang out no more though, I guess.
No business, man.
We're like in LA. I mean, in New York, we stay. I just be out. Like, I don't know where we're at. Like, where are we? We out here. We're out here. Okay, we're here. We're just living because, like, we've been doing, like, Che's been doing an outdoor show at a parking lot in Long Island City, and so, like, it's a social distance parking lot. So they literally like painted like circles on the ground that are 6 feet apart. So when the crowd comes in, it's like, sit in these circles.
Right. Don't move your seats.
Don't move your seat. You sit in these circles, and like there's like speakers there. Everybody has masks on and whatever. And
Oh,
like,
we should do that shit, dog.
yeah, I mean, it's a good parking lot, and then you can always control the number of people that come in. We're doing jokes on the back of a Ford pickup truck. And
future.
That's Michael Che.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool, man.
Dude.
That's
We're
cool.
doing his outdoor shows, and then afterwards,
New York always had cool stuff. When I lived there, man, they had this family. It was a weird.
There you go.
No, there was a lot. I saw a lot of cool things when I lived there.
New York's tight.
There was a group called the Trachtenberg Family Slideshow Players, and it was a mom and a dad, and they were. Well, the dad was a musician. He looked like Rick Moranis, a weird looking dude. But his daughter was 10. She played the drums. Stop it, Felipe. It was cool, but
tell them about that show, about the old film.
What they did was he would go to estate sales and yard sales, and he would get slides of families he didn't know.
Random, wherever he went.
Random slides, yeah. And so his wife ran the slideshow projector while he and his daughter played music and made up songs. He had made up songs about
like
all
James
the
family pictures.
Right.
That's cool, dog.
This is James's birthday, he's 62, whatever. And they'd show all these different photos, and they were funny because he would say funny things, but it was like comedy and music.
All impromptu. That's
a good idea. It was great. They were on Conan one time.
Are you serious?
Yeah. The girl's got to be 20 something now.
Something. Yeah, it's like
cool though.
I like the hangs in New York, but other than that, I hate this place. But yeah, and it's so weird because people
it's
get like
hard to live there. It's hard.
The weather.
Not just the way. It's just
it's just
big
hard.
rats.
It's a daily grind.
The city's trying to kill you on a daily basis.
The wet bandits.
It
from
will
Home
suck
Alone.
your soul out sometimes.
This place is really truly trying to kill you, and I'm a good person, so I don't appreciate being. I'm like going to the municipality. That's not what I was born to do. But
it's not what I was born to do.
So weird to me how people just get so like amped up. Like people get like, I get like if like Comedy Central recently just put a clip out of my half hour, and of course it was about me hating this trash yesterday, and some woman like emailed me and was like, I can't believe you said, like, people get very worked up
about
and I'm
love
gonna
for
show
New York.
time. Yeah, and I'm gonna show in time, and somebody started getting upset, and I just went, I'm sorry, who in here owns where they live? And one person out of 50 people said me, and I was like, who here owns a vehicle? And no one said anything. And I was like, see, the only thing you own is clothing and food. Do you understand that's because you live here? You have nothing. You own nothing. And I just made a bunch of people contemplate their lives. And honestly, that's my ministry. Just to let you know that this city is the reason that you have nothing. You don't own your apartment. You don't own a car. You pay the MTA and you pay to rent a bed. Ha! Yeah, a lot of people weren't happy after that show. I made sure to leave way before it ended. Because I changed the mood in the room. I'll tell you that. I brought him back. Because I told a joke after that. But there were too many people. I saw a girl talking to her boyfriend going, we really don't own any.
no!
Really,
You
like
broke them up.
And you have nothing left at the end of the week either, money wise. There's no extra.
Uber Eats and the MTA got all your money, baby. Now, what you
Y'all
gonna
wanted
put-
to live in a metropolis.
y'all wanted to live in Gotham City, and now you have
Gotham City.
nothing. You have nothing. And I just like to remind people that they could have so much more with their lives, that you can aim higher, that you can be better, and that New York doesn't care about you. I'm not
Be better.
I'm not helping, but this is my ministry. You understand?
How long have you lived there?
I have suffered through this city since in September it'll be 3 years.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
I was forced to, as I said my half hour, I was forced to move here because of success. Because I moved here because of
You're on a daily show, right?
Yeah, but I was in LA for a year and a half before that. And then I booked the Daily Show, so I had to move out here.
So you know Roy Woods.
Oh, Uncle Roy. Man, Roy.
Uncle Roy.
Him and I were on Last Comic Standing together.
And the tour.
Really?
And the Last Comic Standing tour, and funny
40
story about
cities,
him.
right?
Dude, remember that one
40
time
cities.
he invited me, Steve Byrne, and these 3 other comics to go
Sarah
watch.
Tiana.
Sarah Tiana to go
Tiana.
watch the Chicago Cubs, his favorite team, and Steve Byrne's team, to play the Dodgers at Dodger Stadium. I was wearing my jersey; they were wearing their Cubs jersey.
We sat on the
Here's
visitor
what happened?
side.
The Cubs hit on fucking no-hitter on Roy's birthday.
Oh.
Horrible.
We were sad. Roy was happy.
He was super happy. He was
Roy was
like,
super
wow, like he
happy.
won the golden ticket.
I enjoy baseball if I'm in a box seat.
Those are nice.
I enjoy it too.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Baseball was
Shit.
just out there in the sun, just in an afternoon sun, just hot. Nah, that's not my bag.
Nah. I like it also, man, in a little private booth with somebody that's not paying for everything, and every 20 minutes an ice cream lady shows up. Ice cream, desserts.
Yes. The old Brave Stadium, Turner Field, they had this place called the 755 Club, named after all the I believe it's all the home runs Hank Aaron hit. And my mom had tickets to that. You just had to buy any ticket to the games. We got like the $10 ticket just to get into the stadium. And then we would go to the nice little buffet, air conditioned, nice 755 Club. And I was like, this is the only way I want to go to a baseball game. Because I had originally gone to a baseball game where you're sitting out in the stands under a nice afternoon Georgia sun. It's like, no, I'm a good person. This is not the life I'm supposed to lead. July sun at 4 p.m. I'm dark as my shadow.
Man.
You have to feel like a hot pocket.
They'll be like, I remember going to a day game at Dodger Stadium, bro. Fan Appreciation Day, the last game. It was like 105. There was fucking heavy cholas from Cudahy passing out in Pavilion, bro.
Dude, you can't be in the direct sunlight,
like these
dude.
fools, it's like, how can you go to a hot place and not know that, hey, maybe I should drink water during the day?
Yeah, drinking alcohol too. And that's
they're like passing out.
Dude.
Kids.
There's people that don't even drink water, dude.
Horrible, yeah.
I don't want to go to the bathroom, but it's like when you're outside hot like that, because it's like when you're outside hot like that, you could be drinking water all day, but you never pee. And you're like, okay, I've been outside 4 hours. I've drunk 5 waters. I haven't peed yet. I'm in trouble.
What's going on?
Yeah. It's all evaporating.
Alcohol, you'd have never found me. You'd have never found my body. I'm dust. I am dust in the wind. Come find me. No, I'm good for a nighttime game. But even in Georgia, it's like that was the weirdest thing about LA, because it was like it'd be like 100-something degrees during the day, and then it'd be like 70-something degrees at night.
It drops.
Georgia don't play that game. If it's 100 degrees one night and it was 92 degrees and it was 2 a.m.
It goes higher in Georgia, huh?
That's the reason we sell hoodies at Save-Ons.
Right, because I was, why is everybody in these hoodies? And then like, because I'd be out in like my regular, like, okay, got my little cute little shorts, you know, my little camisole, and then we're out at a show, and I'm like, I'm freezing. What is happening? And my homegirl was like, it's a desert, because like that first summer out there, I remember,
Santa
and it was 108 degrees. And my homegirl looked at me and was like, we're going swimming now. And we hit up anybody we knew that had a pool. And we started a group on Facebook called You Can't Swim With Us. And we hit up all the cool people we knew with pools. And since we called it, it was like all these comics trying to get in. And we're like, no, we meant it. You can't get in. Yep. And like, leave it to us to be out here trying to dictate who can come to a pool party when neither one of us had a pool. Okay, I'm staying at her house. Her apartment didn't have no pool, but you still got to set the vibe. You still got to dictate who shows up. You can't be having the wrong kind of vibe show up to someone's apartment pool.
That's not yours, yeah.
Especially one that we're not supposed to be swimming in, because there's 10 of us out here. Ain't supposed to be people anyway.
That's funny. In middle school, I used to go pool hopping with my friends. Like,
pool hopping?
We used to go look for like apartment complexes with pools. Then we would get kicked out, and we go to the other fucking apartment complex. It was dope, dude.
We did that when we were little.
We lived in the Section 8 housing in Colorado, and we would walk down to the hotel. There was a Holiday Inn on the corner, and we would all sneak in on different entrances and act like we lived. We were staying there, and we'd go swim.
We'll go swim at the city pool, Pecan Park in Boyle Heights. And then we're standing in line, and then there'll be like sad ass kids with cut off. They can't get in.
How much was it back then? A quarter?
Bro, a quarter. But then I don't know. There must have been like some
snacks.
Dude, there was like some I guess I don't know what it was, man. But you could bring a Coke can or a Pepsi can and get in free.
Really? It cost a quarter over here at Hunt Park. That's where we used to go when we were little, dude. It's tight.
But dude, man, I remember like a lot of families, a lot of single moms, a lot of people just drop off their kids to swim all day.
Then they go run around and be hoes, huh?
And then they'll disappear, bro. the kids waiting right there with a lifeguard and shit.
Awesome, burn, huh?
My mom would drop us off. I had to be like 12, so my brother had to be like 11. And you know, they're like, because she would drop us off in the summer, she'd go to work, and they were like, you know, don't leave kids unattended. So we walk into the pool and we would just find like a black family, and we're like, hey.
What's up, play cousin?
Well, I thought I was the only one. I'd be like getting close. I got lost at Magic Mountain one time, and I was like standing behind some family right behind them. Who is this kid?
Who? I used to go up there when they were eating, dog, and get a little sandwich.
Magic Mountain is ghetto, dude.
Oh, Theo. That's what we're doing now. Or like apartment pool where they'd be an adult.
Oh,
Can you watch us? So like those people would leave, and she'd be like, "Hey, I was watching them. Can you watch them?" They'd be like, "Yeah." Or some white lady reading a book. You're like, "Hi, ma'am. Our mom dropped us off for the day. Can you watch us?" And she's like, "Yeah, sure. That's all." But they knew our mom. You saw my mom drop me off. Why are we playing this game?
Hilarious, dude.
I will come out of the pool fucking starving, man.
Oh my god,
hungry. Like I would look at people eat, and like they're eating. I'd be like, why did they come far away?
Yeah, because if you would walk up to a family that was like making sandwiches, like they'll be like, "Oh, do you want a piece? Oh yeah, I'll take a piece. Thank you." Like,
I live in the projects, bro. They wouldn't mind making shit, dog.
No, fuck, dog.
Bro, it was one kid with 5 hands digging in his chips.
Bro, dude, when I was a little kid, people were nice, dude.
Hey, Doritos always taste good after you swim, bro. I don't know what it is.
Oh my god, dude, sandwiches, dude.
Delicious.
Dude, deep fried burritos, dude, from the gas station.
Bro,
oh my god!
You gotta get some Doritos and put pickle juice in them, bro. What's up?
Ooh. What happened?
Some Doritos with pickle juice in it, man. It's so bomb.
That sounds like a fun little poverty snack you just gave.
That's some hood shit right there, bro.
Oh yeah, or you get like this this little tamarind thing.
I like it.
It was called pulpa, the little chamoy. It was like a little red thing.
The tamarind.
And you put it inside of Doritos or Cheetos, bomb.
We see, I would have put it in the bag. You just take a little bit, put it on the chip like you were fancy. Or like
Alexander, yeah, man.
Pelon, with the hair would come out.
Oh yeah, Pelon.
So, but it was spicy. Yo,
a little punk rocker melon, huh?
Dude, everybody in my neighborhood knew how to swim. I don't care who you were, bro. I don't know what like the stereotypes are. Everybody in my neighborhood knew how to swim.
Everybody in my neighborhood knew that if we went to the apartment complex on the other side, then on Mondays there was nobody in the office because that's when the office would be closed. So that's when we would come and swim in the pool because nobody would say anything because we could never figure out why the pool was closed and the office wasn't open.
Somebody drowned.
Well, what happened was like one day the maintenance man came to us and was just like, "Yo, y'all can't swim in this pool." I'm like, we live here. Like, no. He's like, no. Monday is the day that we clean it.
Oh.
So we could never figure out why we went swimming, why our eyes were always stinging.
Oh, dude, too much chlorine.
All the algae.
No, was that was the day they put the chlorine?
Oh, the chlorine, the chlorine, yeah.
So we're just
losing your hair,
stinging, and our clothes are like a little like because you didn't wear good because like we couldn't leave with our bathing suits because our mother was like if I left my bathing suit, my mother knew we were going to swim in the pool in the other apartment complex.
I used to have to beg to go swimming.
I mean, because my mother would take us, but it's like we would come back and they're like, oh, we were playing outside with water guns and stuff. And when I got older, my mother was like, you know, you smelled like chlorine, right? And we're like, we didn't.
I ain't that dumb.
We lost all of our senses. We were swimming in a freshly chlorinated pool. I'm surprised we could see.
I'm surprised your mom didn't think you were smoking weed with your eyes so red.
I mean, because they weren't that red, but you just come in because like before you would get out, somebody would have like, because there'd be like the little shower there, like the little water spigot. So we would like wash our eyes out before we would leave or try to like wash some of the chlorine out. But the way that you come back so ashy and your clothes are soaking wet. So it's not like my mother did it. No, I was like, why didn't you say anything? She's like, I didn't have the energy. Like y'all, it was not a fight I wanted to have. You wash the clothes. Y'all washed your own clothes. So it really didn't affect me. So I just was like, fuck it. Pull you out the pool. I don't care. You wash your own clothes anyway. Wasn't even none of my business. So, but ain't nobody in New York even got pools. Like ain't no pools out here.
There's no pools.
And I'm a pool. I am an aquatic type female. You understand? I'm
Sounds like you need to go back to LA soon.
I do. Thank you. God, put that into the universe. Let them bless me.
When is your podcast air?
My podcast comes out every Wednesday, and it's on Starburns and Spotify and the iTunes. But yeah, the Ron Funches episode just came out today, but it comes out every Wednesday. And we got a lot of guests, fun guests coming up in the quarantine. I've just been doing so many interviews, so everybody's like, "Yeah, I got time. What do you want to talk to me? I got to talk to you."
And you're doing you're in a new series though, an animated series coming out, right?
I am. I'm in
called Great North.
Yeah, called The Great North. It's on Fox. Coins. And so yeah, it's supposed. I think it's coming out like next year. We already got a second season, which is amazing. And so it's about a family that lives in Alaska, and I am the fiance of the oldest son in the family.
Alaska. That's great.
And it was really great because I'm like the only Black character on the show, but I got to have like input into like how her hair looks and how her body looks. So it's from the people who do Bob's Burgers. So I'm really excited. And
That's cool.
That's a dope ass.
You already got a second season without it airing at all? That's awesome.
Wild.
Much. That's great.
Congrats.
I never heard that.
Hell yeah.
Damn.
Look at God. So, because I saw like the whole write up and I was like, we got a second. The show ain't even out. All right, Jesus worked.
Wow. That's
I didn't say nothing, but they sent me a whole setup to the house. I've got like a mixing board and all kinds of fancy microphones and stuff.
Did you do all your work over there at the house, at your apartment?
I think the last 2 episodes we did here, but the other episodes we were recording in a studio. Because like some of us live in LA, some of us are in New York. I think like Jenny Slate, she records out of like Boston. So all of us would be all over the country, but we all dialed in so we could record with each other as an ensemble. So it's kind of great because you're not like doing your lines by yourself. So it's like it's a big family scene. All of us are on the call together. So you really get to like work with the other actors as opposed to, you know, one of the producers going, all right, here's your feed in line. You're like, cool. But it's been a lot of fun. It's Nick Offerman and Jenny Slade, and Will Forte plays my fiance. And Paul Russ and Megan Mullally. So it's my first animated series. So it's been really exciting to do. So
that's great. That's
videos.
That's cool.
Yeah. When you go read for the voices, are the other actors there or just you?
Well, me and Aparna live here, so if there's any scenes with me and Aparna.
She's in it too?
Aparna.
Aparna Archella.
And I love her. She's so funny. She plays the youngest son on the show. And if there's any scenes with me and her together, we'll be in the studio together. But if I'm ever out in LA, because I think me and Aparna were out there at the same time. So I think there was a recording session. It was like me, Aparna, Jenny Slate, and Paul Russ were all in the studio at the same time.
That's good.
So that was really great to be able to record like that and to, you know, hear the voices in real time.
Really cool.
Because you feed off their energy differently, right? Like when you're in person rather than.
And, you know, you don't realize that like a lot of times with voice acting, like it's like when they want you to be a little bigger, it's, you know, I use my hands when I talk anyway. So sometimes when I find like when I'm playing the character, it's, you know, people don't think with voice acting, you use your whole body when you're doing it. But when you use your whole body, that's when it feels more like you're acting the scene, but they're just catching your voice, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And your special, your Comedy Central special came out last year. Is that still available somewhere? People can watch
it? I believe the whole thing's on YouTube, on Comedy Central's YouTube. And then they've been putting out clips from it recently. And I know when there's clips out, because like people will start messaging me like, why do you hate New York? Oh, you're right, men are trash. Or I didn't do any men are trash stuff. It's just like, hey, I'm lonely and my titties are huge. What happened? I want to recount. But yeah, they've been doing like small clips and stuff from the half hour, but the half hour came out last year. We filmed it in New Orleans and the first time I'd ever been there. So it was really exciting. We did have some beignets. We had a very fancy dinner. We went to this very and it was great because like one of my friends came from Atlanta, two of my friends came from LA. Our makeup artist from the show, Enid Seymour, she came down to do my makeup, and then my stylist came from LA. So I'd be going to there's a photo shoot you do before and meetings. So it's like whenever we're going to things, it's me and like 5 people, and then my homeboy always wears all black, so he looks like security. So it's just me and everybody's like, did Dulce bring an entourage? I was like, no, this is work. This is work. This is moral support. Okay, yes, I guess I brought an entourage. Hate it? Feels like hating. But it was really cool.
Wow, man. So that's good. You're working, man, doing all this pandemic shit.
Hell yeah. Okay. You're thriving in this pandemic.
Hey, man, how hard it is to get weed in New York right now during the pandemic?
I can't tell you because I don't smoke the jazz cigarettes.
But you hear from friends? Man, it's tough out here.
My friends don't.
Prices are going up too.
My friends don't seem to have any problems acquiring the wacky tobacco. They're very into edibles. There's a guy out here who's making edibles, and apparently they are strong. But again, Dare worked very well on me. I don't like being high. I barely like being drunk. So I smoked weed a few times and I'm just like, I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like none of this.
It's an acquired.
I trip out how these guys can fucking function all day smoking weed, like driving. I'm like, how? Like, I need to lay down, you know?
Driving.
Felipe is driving. No way.
The only thing I hate about smoking weed. Oh, the only thing I hate about smoking weed. The only thing I hate about smoking weed right now is that I'm smoking it a lot by myself. I'm like, damn.
You feel like a loser.
I'm like, fuck, dude. I'm like, where's my homies at, man?
Oh no, you got a Zoom call smoking.
Yeah, you have to have a Zoom session.
It's not the same though. It's like, fuck, dude. Talking shit, dude. Damn.
Fuck with me, hey.
You guys should have a separate Zoom session.
You know, What I like about your show is that there's so many, your podcast, there's so many things you could talk about, you know, like I was just thinking about right now about how and so many of the black shows, there's been characters that automatically disappear.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, or they were replaced and like they act like we didn't notice.
Yeah, like the two Aunt Vivs on Fresh Prince.
Vivs.
Oh yeah.
Little
my
Richie
brother
from
That upset a lot of people.
Family
when
Matters.
that
They have a
was
brother
Little
or
Richie.
somebody disappeared.
Yeah.
Little Richie.
Richie.
Little Richie, they used two different actors, but the third kid on Family Matters, she went upstairs in like the 8th episode and never came back downstairs.
That's the weird one.
That's like that's like Happy Days though. They had a brother. Chet or something like the Chip.
He bounced the ball upstairs and disappeared.
And he never came back for another
Are you
episode.
serious?
Yeah, he would bounce the ball and Richie Cunningham finally going, Chet, stop bouncing the ball.
Yeah.
And then he stopped bouncing and he never heard him
It
again.
might have just been in the pilot. I'm not sure if it made it to the first real.
Yeah. Like,
yeah, I was
Family Matters thing was crazy.
What they said?
Yeah, but she just went because I remember as a kid going, when
Yeah.
I love that shit.
I was like, Carl was a shitty cop, man.
Like I'm like, did this cop's not looking for his own child?
Exactly. Like
or remember how that show Rock, everybody liked him as a trash man, but once he got like militant and started trying to clean up the fucking neighborhood, they canceled the show.
Yeah, they canceled it.
I gotta go.
The gangsters moved in.
I gotta go to city council meeting.
It was when Tone Loc started coming in and he was doing like the neighborhood watch stuff and he started talking about crime and all that stuff.
When the gangster, right?
Tone Loc, he was the gangster.
Tone Loc,
in the neighborhood.
one. I want to know what had to happen in Tone Loc's childhood for his voice to sound like that.
He probably witnessed like a quadruple murder or something.
Or he just wanted, or he had a family, like he just wanted to sound like a robot.
The funky comatina.
Right, like that. I was like, "What's happening?" I was like, "Is this how everybody in LA sounds? This don't sound like a good idea."
Player. He sound like Little
John.
John.
But Tone Loc was still up on your show. You're just like, all right, who knows where this is going?
He should have been invisible.
We saw Tone Loc. We saw Tone Loc one time at 7-Eleven burn a bunch of water.
Yeah.
He was trying to moisturize them vocal cords. That's why he was buying all that water.
It looked like he was in like an emergency situation or something.
I'm thirsty, Rodrigo.
He didn't even sound like that. He didn't want to kick it.
Sound like that in person?
No, he didn't want to kick it.
Oh, what did he say? Of course he didn't. He didn't want
to
hang
out
at 7-Eleven.
How you doing?
We followed him to his car. He thought we were tripping. He thought we were crazy.
You are crazy for following people to their car.
Fuck that. That's Tone Loc though.
I feel like nobody ever talks about Rock. Because like I remember I met Carl that's done it like a actor talk back thing at like the High Museum in Atlanta. And my mom took me and we were talking to him and we were like, we loved your show. Like Rock was great. But it's like people don't ever really talk about that show.
That show's kind of like the Commish, huh? Everybody forgot about it.
It was one of the first Fox shows.
Filming from a live audience. That's cool, dude.
Well, like Fox had all black shows.
I'm sorry. Wait. What did you say, Dulce?
I was like, Fox had like all the black shows.
Yeah. Well, they were groundbreaking in a lot of ways. Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
Totally.
One of the shows on their network was like Married with Children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that show was
crazy.
Simpsons.
And then that show that had a mixed family.
True Colors.
True Colors.
Yeah.
That had Donald Faison was in that as a younger kid, right? He was one of the teenagers.
Colors.
And that woman from that show, right? The View.
No.
Brett Hart was her name. Brett Hart.
Joy Behar?
No, the mom.
Joy Behar.
No.
I thought Joy Behar was a wife.
No.
True.
The woman from that. Let me see who that was. She was in movies and stuff.
True Colors TV. I've never even heard of it.
True Colors.
It was a white mom and a black husband, and then it was like a Brady Bunch with a black kid, a teenager. I think Donald Faison was the kid, and at first it was Cleavon Little was the dad, but he died of cancer, and so they replaced the dad. I think maybe it's not Donald Faison, but Frankie Faison became the dad on the show.
Wait, I don't remember the show, but I remember the stunts.
Frankie Faison.
It was,
It was brief show, but it was good.
1990. A newly wedded middle
man.
class
Oh, I was
interracial
12,
blended family. Yeah.
Don't be lying though.
I remember this because the boy.
Yeah, it started out with Cleavon Little as the dad, and then it was Frankie Faison after.
1990. Dude,
Stephanie
I was
Pharisee was the mom.
years ago.
She was
damn, dude, that's a long time ago, dog.
I hate thinking about that.
Baby.
Yeah.
Man. So like I think I remember because the youngest black son on this show ended up being the oldest son on Thea.
Yes.
True Colors. I gotta see if anybody remembers this.
I loved that show, and it was only one season, and I was like, man, they need more shows like that, because I knew a lot of mixed kids that I grew up with. None of the kids were mixed on this. It was a blended family, but like the two different kids came together.
It was 45 episodes. It was 2 seasons.
Damn, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Well, that's when you would get like a show and they're just like, all right, first season, 24 episodes.
24, yeah.
Now it's 10.
Yeah, 10.
Crazy,
You're
man.
lucky.
More than half.
I think Mr. Iglesias this year got 6 episodes or something, right? Or 8, 6.
That's crazy.
A lot of them are on that 6 episode tip.
Yeah, they only got 6. I think it got canceled during the taping.
I think Insecure last season was only 6 as well, right?
Because originally the first one was 10, huh?
I loved Insecure.
Yeah, like I trip
That's a
out
good
how
ass show,
Dulce,
dude. I love that show.
like Dulce said back then, they'll give you like 30 episodes of a season, you know?
Crazy,
Well, like
bro.
I Love Lucy used to their seasons were like 38 episodes and stuff like that.
Damn.
That was like straight
nothing
plowing through.
But it was like nothing was rerun. So it's like you watch this.
no-
No, that's true though. That's the other thing you gotta look. No reruns. I mean, you gotta fill that gap.
But like I Love Lucy was how syndication got created. Like because of that show.
They would do the East Coast taping first, and then they would do the West Coast, and then it was killing them. And they were like, "We can't do this every day. We can't do."
So they were doing it for both
They were doing different broadcasts.
God damn, I didn't know that.
It was Desi Arnaz. He started that whole idea.
Desi Arnaz.
Desi
You did a lot of things.
They created syndication.
3 camera angle.
Yeah, and so like it's crazy because like Desi Arnaz created the 3 camera setup.
Yeah.
Because before
Super talented man.
Super talented. I got to meet. Have you been, Felipe? Have you been to the National Comedy Museum in Jamestown, New York?
No, never. But I guess we're going now.
I heard
Booked the.
we were too far both times.
You went there, fool?
No.
I think Marcelo.
I tried to start with Voodoo one time. They're like, hell no, dog. We're going to the hotel. All right, cool.
It's out in Jamestown, New York. So you gotta like fly into like I think like Buffalo and then drive almost
down. Yeah.
So it's out there, but like they have but that's where Lucille Ball is from, and so they do the Lucille Ball Comedy Festival out there.
Cool.
So like, and they have the National Center for Comedy. So it's a comedy museum. So they like I have like a full exhibits like I think it was George Carlin's daughter donated like all of his notebook and his notes and everything. And electronically scanned everything. So you could just go to a big exhibit and you can look at like picture like his actual notes. And it was just like, you know, the 7 words you can't say. You can look at the notes for those jokes because he was so meticulous. And then I think they got one of like the card catalogs from like Joan Rivers. Like everybody has like they have like a late night comedy section, and then they also have the Lucille Ball Museum. And so it was like it's reproductions of the set, like the home set, and then I think when they were in LA, but it's like some of the slaps are from the original set of I Love Lucy. So it was because I got all this Lucy stuff because I've always looked up to her so much. But when they were doing the dedication, I think the year after I went, I got to meet Lucy Arnaz. And because I got to talk at like the
opening. Like her dad.
Yeah, she's just like her dad.
I think they have a picture of Willie Barcena hitting Nick Guerra there.
His motherfucking dog.
There's an inside joke for our listeners.
I love Nick Guerra. Don't do that.
He's getting up tangent.
It wasn't us. It was
It was an
somebody
inside
else.
joke because another comic we know, they were fighting over a joke, and he drove from El Paso to go meet him somewhere.
You drove like 3 hours, dude. That guy
He took a
Willie.
detour, dude.
He cheap shot at him in a restaurant. Yeah. A long
Somebody-
That's
like 2 years ago, right?
Yeah, it's been a
yeah,
minute.
2 years ago. You know how angry I have to be to drive 3 hours to go sock someone in the face, dude?
Yeah, he took a detour.
Yeah.
He must be a New York comic.
A detour.
LA comics would never. They just get a juice and talk about it.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
That's
Not niggas
awesome, man. Like all that stuff. Like I like to look at some set lists, even like Seinfeld or stuff.
Pretty cool to see what how they work their stuff, you know, like from
How they
like,
wrote it.
writing
I know
to
that,
saying it.
I know by rumors that George Lopez notes are all freehand, so you can't see them, you can't read them.
Shorthand, right?
Shorthand.
Shorthand.
So nobody can see his jokes he's working on.
Wow.
Yeah, did he take it in high school? Like with the secretaries in high school?
Probably. That's probably when it was, you know, like it's either that or typing or probably an extension of typing class.
My mom had shorthand in high school, which was in the 60s. Well, actually, it ended in 70. She graduated. And she taught me shorthand. I know probably 5 things that I can write. But it's all like letters that are connected, like letters. But she taught me some things. But that's the last I ever saw of it. I never see it. I never saw it again. All the girls who ever went to like stenotype institutes, they didn't learn actual shorthand. They just learned how to type it.
I have an aunt in Illinois. She's in her mid-50s and she learned it in high school.
Yeah.
She was a
So
secretary for days.
That's probably the right before my generation. We still learned typing, but we didn't learn shorthand.
No,
Marcho Rizzo write his set list on the back of a little matchbook.
You see how small this fool writes? God damn.
I light it up.
He has a set list on a little matchbook size paper this small, and his whole 35-minute set list is there.
Dude.
Doesn't Chuck, there's this older comic that Felipe takes out on the road.
Band-Aids.
And he puts Band-Aids on his hand. Well, now he's using Band-Aids, but he used to just write right on his hand. He would write the words. He'll write the words of the next thing. And he does his jokes like this, and then he'll back up and he can look at his jokes right there.
Yeah.
Band-Aid on his hand.
I was always afraid people were going to see that I was cheating. That's why I didn't do that.
I work with a headliner. He told me to tape his set list on the stool on the way out. And I said, all right.
I feel like that I had Ben Glebe taught me something. He was like, he always records his sets, and if he ever does a new bit, he'll hit the stool, so the sound wave will spike, and so he knows on wherever the spike is in the sound wave, when he looks at the recording, he knows that there's a joke in front. So he doesn't have to listen to the whole hour to find a new joke. He just knows, okay, new joke. I hit the rises. Bam, that's where the new bit is. And I was like, that's so smart. And he told me this probably 6 years ago. I've never done it.
It's a cool little system.
Because I never remember. One, I never remember to hit the stool. 2, I'm worried if I slap the stool, I'm gonna break a nail in the middle of my set.
Think about that, huh?
It's like, damn it, I got a new bit, but now I gotta find, a new place to get my nails done in Milwaukee. I don't know these people. So, or what I used to do, like if I was on like a mic or something like that, or if one of my friends is in the room, if I do a new bit, I'll go, yo, text that to me. Like when I'm on stage, I'm like, I don't know. You heard what I just said. Text me like just the main points to this. And then when we're done, I'm like, okay, let me write this bit down. Because there's so many times you've done new bits on stage and you didn't write it down. You're like, oh, it's gone.
Or you're recording.
I feel bad. Like sometimes if I forget to turn on my recorder, and that shouldn't happen a lot. Okay, it don't happen a lot.
Because
my phone is dead. I feel like a loser up there. But I record most of it and I listen to it all the time.
You listen every day.
I take mental notes. I listen to it every day. But when I'm not lazy, if I hear a new joke, instead of taking a mental note, I stop it and I put a little bookmark on my. That's it.
That's cool.
That's funny.
And what I did the last time though, I think for the third special, I think Lisa, what we did was we broke the chunks up from the new bits and put it together in one 20-minute set just to listen to it, even though it was not arranged right.
Hell yeah.
Because you were doing so many, you had nights where you were doing jokes that you hadn't done in months, but you wanted those to be in your special, and it was like, I think we should put all these together.
Just I told, man.
Yeah. I was gonna say, Dulce mentioning like I Love Lucy and all that stuff with Ricky Ricardo. If you guys, there's an old recording of him on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, and I think what's his name, Frank Sinatra, and that old Don Rickles is on it. But anyways, he always, no matter what happened with him and Lucy, they got divorced or whatever, he always gave Lucy her props. He's always really hard on the show, 110%. But I'm gonna tell you, Lucy was always 99% of the show and the talent. So it's like always bow down to her.
He always gave her props because it was like people, like when she did that show, she was like close to her 40s. And they were like, well, we don't know if we can have like a foreign. She was like, if you gonna fuck with me, you got to bring my man on the show.
Yeah, period. She was adamant about that because she was a film star before that. Like they were trying to break her in that way, but it never happened.
Yeah, she was trying to be a starlet. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, that's amazing that she was able to, bring him on. Because I mean, how many times have we all heard, Lucy, you got some explaining to do?
Yeah.
Because it's like, you making fun of my accent. She's like, I would never make fun of your accent. But it's like for a long time, people also didn't want to give her props for being a physical comic.
She was funny as fuck, man.
Dude, that show is still funny today after like 60 years. Bro, that episode where she's trying to speak Spanish to Lucy's to Ricky's mom and she has an earpiece. Bro, that shit's just
and it's ahead of its time, dog.
Ahead of its time, dude. With the Bluetooth earpiece. What I do? It was fucking funny, dude.
Well, it's like I was at the museum and they said that since the show originally aired, it's never not been on
TV. Yeah.
World.
She's the queen of comedy.
And it's like, yeah, she's like, it's been translated to like all these different languages, but it's like, there's no, like the show is on somewhere right now. Like
on
right
somebody's
now.
TV.
Right. And they have a bunch of episodes on Hulu. And I'm just like, and then she had 2 other shows after that show. So, and then people don't realize that, like Desilu Productions, like she was the first female head of a studio. She's the one that greenlit the original Star Trek series.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Fuck yeah.
Andy Griffith's show, I think Beverly Hillbillies. But yeah, the original Star
RKO
Trek.
RKO Studios.
Right. Okay. But like it was Desilu was the one that was like
Desilu Productions.
Nobody wanted to mess with Star Trek. She was like, let's see.
Forget about it.
And now I love Star Trek. Thank you, Lucille Ball, for giving me all the things that I love. But yeah.
I also gave him props too, though, as far as how innovative he was. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's tough to have a business relationship with somebody that your careers are tied together like that, and then he cheated on her.
Right, but it was like
I heard it was an animal.
I know. I mean, destroyed her inside, but she still plowed ahead and she stayed.
Imagine how many ladies were ripping at him, though. It's like, damn.
Of course.
I mean, he's coming out here with that conga drum.
I'm not gonna go home to Chatsworth tonight, Lucille.
They didn't know.
Damn, dude.
They had a Cuban before. They didn't know what this was. They were like, "Let me get this straight."
He said he slept on an average 1.5 hours to 2 hours a night.
Hey, the hair he had, bro. He had nice hair, bro. Ricky.
Dude. Can't sleep on that hair.
Felipe's dad looks a little bit like Desi Arnaz, a little bit.
His hair was shellac, bro.
And you know what's crazy about him?
More like Babalu.
You know who his best friend was in like high school and junior high? Al Capone Jr.
Really?
Yeah.
Desi Arnaz?
Al Capone Jr.
No, who's
Desi Arnaz.
Yeah, really?
Yeah. Because
that little kid, the little boy that is holding his hand in Untouchable.
What happened?
He broke up there. What?
Al Capone, the Untouchables. He has a little boy that he's holding his hand, and that's his son.
Yeah, Al Capone Jr. Because they pretty much had another home right there in Miami, in Florida. Just he was doing his business in Chicago or whatnot, but that's where they became friends. It's in his because when he was on the Johnny Carson show, he was promoting his book. It's called A Book by Desi Arnaz.
So he went to high school in
junior high in Miami.
In Miami?
Yeah.
How old was he when he came here?
I want to say
32
like 14,
in high school.
13 or something like that, 14, 15.
The accent was pretty thick.
Thick as hell, yeah. Yeah. It's a cool, like his dad made money because he went to construction sites to track homes, and there was a bunch of broken tiles, and he would use the broken tiles to cover up on fireplaces, to actually design the fireplaces around it, and that's how he started a business out of like basically trash.
Out of scrap.
Yeah, exactly.
He left during Bautista.
Yeah. Well, they were on his side. Some of his family was granted like Rodeo Drive, all that by the Spanish monarchy. Like they were politically connected over there, but after Castro took over, it was over, bro.
Well, his mother is one of the heirs to the Bacardi fortune.
Yeah. That he mentions that in the book. He comes from like almost pretty much aristocratic origin.
Yeah.
He always carried himself that way.
That
was his background.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I got a copy. Mondo has a book. I'll let you borrow it after, and then like let Joe Diaz borrow it after if you can't get a copy. Yeah, it's really good. It's real cool. I read it in 3 days.
A book by Desi Arnaz.
A book, and it talks about his whole life. He had a ranch right here in Riverside where I live, and it also talks about like his family. Like he was really tough on the kids and all that stuff. So it has a little bit of that in there. But in the end, he ended up being best friends with the son. But it's very cool. Very cool.
How do they even have time for kids? I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Like she was older too, like Lucy and all that stuff. Like it was like it talks about all that, like that little tumultuous time.
They were busy constantly.
Nonstop.
I think Mirna to school with Desi Arnaz Jr. in Riverside.
I don't think that fool went to school. I was like, what? Oh, Dick. I don't think he didn't go to school out here, but yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, she cured cancer and autism, bro.
And Lucy was still working.
Dulce, Sloan, where can we follow you at?
I am on all of the social medias at Dulce Sloan. It's DULCE, not DO. My mother went to college.
Dulce. Goodbye.
Yeah, I've had people tell me that my name is spelled wrong. They're like, oh, I'm like, no, it's not Dolce. It's Spanish. You know what? Google me.
Only the Latinos
Italian. Oh yeah, people have called. I've been called Dulce, Dolce, Dulce, Dolce, Duce.
Dulce
de leche.
Dulce is how Isaac used to say pan dulce when you would go get pan dulce years ago. When he was little, he'd say dulce.
And see, and that's your girl. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitters, it's all at Dulce Sloan, dulcesloan.com. And we in here because I guess we're not out here no more.
Yeah, we in here.
We in here. Thank you for having me, Felipe. It was nice meeting you.
Thank you, man. I can't believe we brought up those comics from Atlanta. That one guy.
Henry Welsh?
No, Henry Welsh and Bubba. What's his name?
Bo Peep.
Bo Peep.
Legend, dog.
Bo Peep. You know Kenny?
I knew Bo Peep. The first time I saw Bo Peep, he was a comedy duo with Curtis Arsenal.
I didn't know him. I knew him and
Curtis Arsenal, dog.
They had an HBO special.
But Big Kenny in Atlanta is the one that got me into doing stand-up. So that's how I met.
Big Kenny, a comic that wears a bandana.
No. Are you talking about the dude who would wear the bandana because he had the long dreads, but he had a bald spot? And so that was like his bit. Because he was way back with his bald spot, but his dreads would go down to his knees. And like that was the big reveal. He was like, his head got
big reveal.
The big reveal. I saw that dude do that same 10 minutes for years. Like, all right.
Big reveal.
It's solid though.
Yeah, he's out here working. He's getting more stage time than me. So he's out there. I mean, he slid that bandana off, and it was like, oh. But I was like, really, this box? So I don't know if the dreads caused it. I don't know if the dreads were just holding on for dear life.
Sometimes the tightness of braids or ponytails can slowly pull your hair back.
It's called traction alopecia, and your girl still got her edges, so they won't get me, baby. See
Who's
that?
this for? The baby?
Baby, I see baby hairs.
Yeah, I always want to see baby hair, baby, because that's why I don't pull my shit tight, honey.
There you go.
Look at that intact hairline coming straight to the eyebrow, hoping they don't leak.
That's what I be doing over here.
Keeping it tight, keeping it right.
Man, how you been? Man, I've been very fortunate this week. I'm actually working on a movie set.
Hell yeah, dude. I saw
You
it.
done or you still working?
Yes, man. Bro,
He's got 2
I
more
told
weeks
you guys I took a
dude.
COVID test. I took a COVID test last week and I got the results the next day. And like I'm supposed to just go to the set and go home and not go anywhere else. So I really haven't. And when I get to the set, they take my temperature, bro, and I gotta wear a face mask. When they yell action, I take my right before they yell out action, I take my mask off. We run the scene, cut. Everybody puts their mask. Every actor puts their mask back on, and then we talk normally again. And 6 feet away, bro, there's an EMT all the time, and if you're standing too close, hey, 6 feet. Everything's designed for 6 feet away. All the table, all the chairs you sit at. There's no more hanging out with all the actors sitting in the same chair. Fuck that. It's like everybody's separated. Makeup lady, sound guy, anybody that gets close to you has a face mask and a shield.
What?
When you go to the dressing room to change costumes, you put your clothes on a blue plastic sheet that they wipe, and you throw your clothes on there. You don't throw them on the floor. You throw it there, and then when you put your costume back on, they sanitize the handle against when you touch it. You go back to your room with your clothes.
Wow.
Nobody's allowed to come out of the dressing room for no reason other than to act. Your food is given to you in a little tray, like a pre-packed meal, and you take it to where you're supposed to eat, or you're sitting down 6 feet, or
like
sitting
an
down
astronaut,
6 feet
bro.
from each other.
Yeah, you're eating like an extra now.
An astronaut, bro. Yeah.
I mean, those are like what SAG after guidelines. I'm sure that's like on ain't playing.
They haven't greenlit a lot of productions. They're like they're only giving out thumbs up for a couple productions.
Because they're saying that like Hollywood's going to be pretty much leading like on like the whole sanitation thing, right? On disinfecting, like making sure like
the clothes
protocol and all
that are washed every day, and then like they make them look real dirty. So I'm doing a movie with Omar Chaparro and a guy named Oscar Torres.
Hell yeah, dude.
My cousin, dog.
It's crazy, dog. Like you can't even talk.
Dude,
you can't talk to nobody, man. It's quiet.
Have fun on the scene and tear it up, bro.
No more cheese.
Representing, dog.
Wrap it up.
You know me, man. I'm taking shit from craft service. When you go to craft service to get snacks, there's two little sanitizers. You gotta wash your hands first before you start touching shit, and then when you come out, you wash your hands again. And the guy that runs craft service, he'll tell you, man, I don't know if that's his job, but I guess he has to tell people to wash their hands.
Jesus.
We're gonna wrap up here, but I want to remind people that Dulce Sloan's half-hour Comedy Central special is probably available on ComedyCentral.com, right?
Yes.
Or their app, whatever.
On the YouTube, if not the whole set.
And where can people listen to your podcast? Where can they find it? Everywhere?
It's called That Black Ass Show, and it's on Starburns, Spotify, iTunes, and we actually got on like a list on iTunes where it's like one of the best podcasts to listen to, like one of like the first 2 weeks, first 3 weeks.
Hell yeah.
Right on.
Like
congrats.
And like thank you. And like one of the laugh out loud list that Spotify has, we got on that. So and I was like when before we had put out like 5 episodes. So that was really great.
Good.
Yeah, that's good.
You've got your show. We don't know the release date yet, right? For Great North.
Yeah, Great North, I think is coming out next year. Because you know it's a cartoon, so I think they still gotta draw it. And did you forget about that part? You did all like I did all the noises. Now you got to do all the pictures. And then you know, Daily Show. We are dark this week, but we'll be back next week, and it's just us at the house and some, you know, a producer calling me on Zoom, and we're filming at the house. We got all the equipment.
Nice.
It's all at the house. I want to be in every union. By the end of this, I'm gonna be a director, a cinematographer, a grip.
He said a grip. There's a lot of grips out there.
Makeup person. There's a lot.
I'm in show
Get a
business.
grip too.
I'm a sound guy. I'm lighting this. I am the cinematographer in this bitch. There's nobody else
grip.
It does, but I do it all at the house. So by the time I get out of this, I'm gonna be in 15 unions, and I think I might be a Teamster, baby.
Give me Hoffa.
I mean, hey, we're gonna find Hoffa one day.
Well, thank you very much, man. This was fun. And we're
Yeah, thank you so much. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Thanks, Dulce.
Thank you.
And
Listen, glad to be surrounded by people who can say my name correctly. That's
Hell
really
yeah.
Dulce.
Dulce Sloan.
Dulce Sloan.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you for having me.
Dulce Sloan.
Bye.
Thank you.